Was it me yesterday that said that the Cavs shouldn't have any problems beating the Portland Trail? Was that me? I couldn't remember. Was it me that started a conversation about, are the Cavs a good enough team to guarantee wins against lesser opponents in the NBA? Was it me that looked on our Tipico app, download the app, use the code BigPlay100, that said, 11? I kind of like that. Was that me or was that you, Ryan? I couldn't remember from yesterday's show. I guess we should go back and watch. I don't remember how that went. What the hell are they doing? What is going on with the Cleveland Cavaliers? It is a football Friday. We have our picks. I can gloat about my Seattle Seahawks pick from yesterday. Thank God that clip didn't go bad and bite me in the ass. The other clip from yesterday's show probably could bite me in the ass, where I talked so much about the Cavs riding high after a nice win against the Hawks, and they come out and they just lay a giant freaking egg, just taking a squat right over the middle of the court there yesterday at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse and saying, yeah, we're not really going to show up against Portland Trailblazers. I had to wake up this morning to JB Bickerstaff catching hell, and I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it. I'm not saying that you're not wrong for saying he should be out of here. I didn't think we'd be there this early with the Cleveland Cavaliers, but nonetheless, that was a win that really opens your eyes on a lot of things about the wine and gold. We're going to talk basketball to start. As always, we are slammed on a Friday with nothing but football. Let's get all to it right here on a Football Friday on Big Play. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am Matt Fontana. He is Ryan Tyler. A very happy good morning to all out there on a Football Friday. So we got it locked and loaded. We got our NFL slate. We're going to do all 5 of the Power 5 conference games. And is there a shot for Ohio State to make it? Not really, but that's okay. We'll have Sonny Gupped on. I will pay the bet there for Sonny. I already emailed him. I asked him for his address. But I'm going to ask, like, is he a bourbon guy? Rye? What's he looking for in our payoff bet there for the Ohio State-Michigan game? So we'll get to that coming up with Sonny. We got a lot of football. Of course, the Browns getting ready for the Rams. We all assume it's going to be Joe Flacco. Still no news. Stefanski didn't talk yesterday. Keeping an eye on Myles Garrett. Stefanski confident he's going to play, but he didn't practice yesterday. So a lot. But we got to start with the Cavs this morning. And Ryan, we can just retweet. I sent the tweet yesterday asking people about JB Bickerstaff, stay or go. I'll hit the retweet on that this morning as well. We'll post that again at Matt Fontana Show. And overwhelming, of course, it's go. And after a game like last night and everything that happened after, so the Cavs fall to the Trailblazers 109-95. I mean, again, it's not even like you lost on a last-second shot. They came out and smoked you in the second half. And the fact that it was even that close, that the Cavs went on, a 5-minute streak of not scoring? The hell is that? What? Seriously, what did I watch last night? And even in the first half, it's never like they distanced themselves from the Trailblazers. That was their 6th win of the year. They are 6-12. You lost by 8. And, there's a lot of, I don't want to say excuse, but, you try to rationalize. And if you understand, okay, the Cavs are a little bit of a younger team and maybe just dude, it's not like you beat the Nuggets on Wednesday or something. It's not like you had some emotional, uplifting win. You beat the hell out of the Hawks and missed out on the play-in tournament on Tuesday, not even Wednesday, Tuesday. I try to find an excuse for that game, and I don't know if I have one. And I look at what the Cavs, okay, Mitchell with 23 on 20 shots, by the way. 20 from Evan Mobley. Okay, there's a little of the offense that I think people were asking for. But for everybody else, Max Strus, 4 of 11 on the floor. Niang didn't have a great game. Karis LeVert was off. I mean, the Cavs, they shot 43% from the floor, but you just, LeVert, 2 of 9. Mitchell, 7 of 20. Garland, 6 out of 18. The Cavs shot an abysmal 22% from behind the arc. And it brings back, the Cavs are in this position where I get that people are not sold on them. So when they have a game like that, all of these things are just so close to the surface, and all it takes is one loss to just rip open this can, and it's fire JB, and it's this team isn't better with Donovan Mitchell. Get him out of here. He's ball controlling. And you're not wrong for feeling that way. But this early in the season, that's kind of unfortunately, that is right now the only defense that I have for the Cavs. Well, it's still early in the season. But sometimes these things are indicators of what I might have to deal with come February. If you had this game happen on February 1st, I know it's December 1st, last day of November yesterday, but still, you have this game happen in February, these are much bigger conversations. So that's not even a good defense from my standpoint to sit there and say, well, it's just early in the season. There are serious issues with this basketball team. And you wanted to give them time to figure it out, and you wanted to give them time to say, okay, there were injuries. They couldn't play their full lineup. We talked to Danny Cunningham, Cleveland Magazine, on Wednesday. What did he say, Ryan? The 8 or 9 games that you've had of your actual lineup? So JB's had to make some changes. But a game like that last night, everything is on the table. Every discussion is worthy to be had right now. And I'll admit, and I will start the conversation by saying, I'm not ready to move on from JB Bickerstaff. I'm not ready to open the show and call for his job and say that he's not the right guy, but I'm starting to question it more. I'm not quite there yet. And a lot of the responses I got in the Twitter inbox yesterday was, who are you going to replace him with? And I think that is I'm glad I'm breaking people down on that. When it comes to NFL, when it comes to NBA, when it comes to any job. It's not always just about who you're going to move on from. It's who are you going to bring in to replace them. And I know people are bringing up like Luke Walton's on this staff and some of the other people. Okay, fine. And there's not many NBA coaches just hanging out doing a whole bunch of that is, unfortunately, maybe the shakeup that the Cavs need because they slept walk in that game. And you look to a coach to set a bar of expectations for the season, but for games. And for them, did Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, all those players, did they go into this game last night saying, man, everything's on the line, it's the Portland Trail Blazers? No, but you need your coach to drill home, guys, we still need to take care of business here. We still need to go out and execute so we can beat a bad basketball team at home. And they didn't do that. So it falls back on JB Bickerstaff. And on the professional ranks, there is a lot of accountability to put on the players. These guys have been through games before. They've been through NBA seasons. They need to take a little of that on themselves, too. And then we get to postgame, right? JB sitting in the locker room, and what was his line? We can have all these conversations we want, but it's time to start doing something about it. Do you want to know my fear on that, Ryan? So JB, after the game, spoke to the media for 2 minutes. That's fine, whatever. He's pissed off. I get it. But the fact that he sat in that locker room and talked to his players, and one of the quotes that came out was, we can talk about it all we want. It's time to start doing something about it. That starts telling me the message is not getting through. And when your message stops getting through, it might be time for a new message. And that starts thinking about a new message from a new coach. And I know that they love JB Bickerstaff. That team legitimately loves JB Bickerstaff. And I'm a fan myself. I admit that. But something's got to change. And if you want to come back with the overreaction of just one game, I would love to listen to that. I will tell you that I would love any little escape that I could get from having the discussions that we have to have this morning. But none of them are doing it for me. Early in the season, and what did you expect from this game? This Cavs team is not the Boston Celtics, okay? They're not a team that is in the upper echelon of the NBA with, frankly, title hopes. You could believe that. You could say, okay, I want to make the playoffs. But in reality, what were we all asking for just to get out of the first round of the playoffs? Those losses mean a lot more when you're one of those upper echelon teams. The problem is I wanted to believe that the Cavs were on their way to being an upper echelon team. And a loss like yesterday, that just doesn't happen, man. You cannot have that. And I'm searching for answers. And inside that locker room, they're asking themselves what happened, or shot selection, or is it too much ball control with Donovan Mitchell? I don't know all the answers, but they need to find them. Because right now, if the Cavs got done with this loss and they go and they win 4 straight, you'd feel okay about it. You'd feel a little bit better and say, okay, you can kind of push that aside. But the problem is that I still need to be proved about this team. So losses like that are going to give me doubt. It's a lot like where the Browns are at. It's like any sport. You want to get to a point where sometimes losses, they're not that big of a deal. You know, the Chiefs cough one up against the Broncos. Nobody feels bad about the Chiefs, or nobody is questioning Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes because they have a belief in who they are and what they're doing. You don't have that with the Cavs. So when you watch a game like that, you get frustrated. And this schedule, okay, so you go from here, Detroit, because somebody tweeted at me yesterday about, there's a fuzzy on this. It's annoying me. Every time I talk, I blow into, okay, there it goes. Bye. Somebody was trying to tell me, like, oh, the schedule gets a lot harder. You got Detroit and Orlando. Should better be wins, I'll tell you that, tomorrow night in Detroit. Or Miami, Orlando again, and then you got back-to-back games at Boston, that baseball series. You're in Boston Tuesday, Thursday next week. No, sorry, not next week, the week after that. You're in Boston. Those are going to be big games. And if you were to split those games, I think I'd be pretty happy about that. But for where the Cavs are, they're at 10-9. It's not the start you had last year, and it's not the start that JB Bickerstaff needed. When he came into this season, he was on the hot seat. People were really upset with how that Knicks series went. You can't have the start like this. If you really want to save JB Bickerstaff's job, you couldn't have a start like you had. Now, it could be worse. You could be 4-12 or whatever it is. You could be a lot worse of a spot. But it's just, it's all of that stuff is right there. And I want to be I want to be positive about him, Ryan, this morning, and I can't. I am so frustrated with that loss last night because I think it is unfortunately an indicator of bigger problems with this basketball team. And it kind of, I think, is related back to the Knicks series, is that the team on the floor just loses it for who they are and what they're supposed to be. There are games that they just go away and you go, what the hell? That's not the same Cavaliers team that I just saw. And yeah, they're not the number 1 seed in the East right now. Here's the crazy thing, Ryan. At this point of the season, you're fighting for the play-in tournament. I did not think that was going to happen. And as it all shakes out, I still believe the Cavs will find themselves in the top. Like, do you feel like the Cavs are a top 4 seed right now? Do you still feel like they're going to get there? All these questions are back on the table now. Am I overreacting to that game last night? Tell me.
I don't think you're overreacting at all. I think it's a normal reaction when you lose at home the way you did to such an inferior opponent. That just is always going to bring up questions, and people are going to be pointing fingers and whatnot. So, no, I wouldn't say you're overreacting, and I think there's valid questions to be asked about the leadership of this team, that being JB Bickerstaff. And then, like you said, the question always is, if you do go ahead and fire your head coach, you look, okay, who can we replace this guy with? Whether that's a in-building, I'm assuming it's going to be an in-building.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's
like maybe like a Luke Walton or something along those lines. But I don't think you're overreacting. I'm not necessarily that worried. Not quite a quarter way into the season, but there is questions to be asked, and there is negative signs that are clearly visible just from an eye level. And, we don't have access to all the internal discussions that they're having and the emotions behind the players, but it's something that you want to get nipped in the bud sooner rather than later, especially if we're going to go ahead and catch some momentum going into midway point, the All-Star break.
I mean, that you're trying to figure out and find out who this team is. Who is this team? And I don't know if I have an answer other than the fact they play like a really young basketball team a lot. And they make mistakes. And the other thing about the Cavs, I wanted to believe that they were multidimensional, that they were a team that could do it different ways. They could have Garland and Mitchell score a lot. They could have Allen and Mobley score a lot. They could have Strus and Niang and all of them hit threes. But you got none of that last night. You got 20 from Mobley, which was great. Your shooting was ice cold at home, which I just don't understand again. And if they've built that up, that they're not like they have to play, like the Cavs shouldn't have to play perfect to beat the Portland Trailblazers. They should not have to play perfect. And they had a bad game. They had a horrible game and they lost. Like, that is what's going to happen. But man, I hope they learn from it. Like, I really hope that they can improve on it and find a way to just not, like, do what they did. And if people, and I'd love to be talked off the ledge this morning from people. I would love this for people to say, dude, like, we gotta, it's early in the season, like, they still have to find their way, but it's all there. That's all there. J-Rex. JB's a one-trick pony. He can't make in-game adjustments. Bring back Ty Lue. He's actually a perfect fit for this team. Well, Ty Lue's a little busy. I don't think you're getting Ty Lue. Okay. As much as he might not want to have to deal with everything going on with the Clippers right now, they're in a better spot right now. You're not bringing Ty Lue back.
I mean, and to be fair, Matt, it's like I get the in-game adjustments, and that's totally fair. That's his job, is to manage the game as he sees fit, right? The Cavs had a horrendous shooting night, and there's only so much a coach can do to remedy that. I mean, you go look at the numbers. I think, I don't have it pulled up, but we shot, I think over 33s last night, and we maybe made 8.
32. We were 7 out of 32 from beyond the arc.
And that's hard. That's a hard obstacle to overcome.
Very few basketball teams in today's day and age of jacking up threes, that's a hard way to win for a lot of teams. I understand that. And basketball, it's not quite the NFL side of it. Like, play calling in the NBA is important, but that is, I put this on the players. I do, and this isn't coming from some uber JB Bickerstaff defender. And in fact, another tweet in the Twitter inbox this morning from A-Dog, I'm on team stay for JB, but I'm starting to flip. That's exactly where I'm at. That's exactly it for me. Like, I'm on team stay, but now I'm starting to question it. JB is always going to be first in line to catch the hell. And he's always going to be first in line for the change, because you're not going to change the players out. But in the NBA, I more often than not will always put it on the players. In baseball, I put it on the players. Football, that's more of a discussion. That's more of maybe a 50-50 split on the coaching versus the players. But in the NBA, go make a bucket. Go get a stop. I don't care what defense is called. And in timeouts, yeah, there's important coaching. They get the whiteboard and they're like, all right, when they do this, we're going to do that and go under the screens now as opposed to over top of them. I'm not saying those adjustments aren't important, and you're very clearly not getting those. But if the Cavs aren't hitting threes, that's on the players.
JB going to go out and shoot?
What's he going to do? And there is something to be said. Keep shooting, right? That's the old mantra in basketball. When you got shooters and they're not hitting, you just got to keep shooting. And there were times I'm not asking them to pass up open shots. That's a recipe for even worse success. Yeah. That's a big reason why I don't want to see Dean Wade on the floor very much. I know he's battling illness. I hope he's okay.
And I mean,
but open shots need to be taken and they need to be hit. But if they're not, then let's go inside a little with Allen and Mobley. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think either one of those guys got in bad foul trouble yesterday.
I don't believe so.
Allen got 3 late.
But Matt,
1.5, Ryan.
I know, we were so
1.5 on our boost,
this
man.
This is a really stinky game, and we still almost hit.
Do you want to know what I also was very worried about missing? When Garland hit that 3 and they said his foot was on the line, I go, we're doomed. Now he hit another one later, thank God. So we had a parlay boost on Tipico. That was Garland 2 or more threes. That remedied itself. The under, which at one point was like 195 live, weren't even close to our 218, slammed that. And points and rebounds for Jared Allen at 23.5 over, he finished with 22. Yeah. 12 points, 10 boards.
And Matt,
because there was another one too that he got an offensive rebound and put it back. I go, okay, there's 3. We just need one more of that. We didn't get it, but
and the thing is, we all know that the Cavs team early on was not healthy, right? We've had a decent sample size with the full team, so that's good. And the during that sample size of that consistent, healthy rotation that we expected to see night in and night out, they've played pretty damn well with pretty great wins against teams like the Nuggets, like the 76ers. So I know we did lose this one, and you hate to see you lose in a game that you have no business losing so. But when you take just that sample size of what we expect this team to be going forward, it's really no need to hit this panic button and kind of just witch hunt for JB Bickerstaff, I feel like.
People are going to do that because he was already there. You know, if you were an Eastern Conference Finals participant last year, I think it'd be a different conversation. The thing is, a lot of fans have this internal ticking clock, and it's related to Donovan Mitchell, right? And I can't, as much as I try to tell people, like, don't focus on that. You feel like you have a couple of years to get this done. And this year, what was this year built up to be? For some, a prove-it year to Donovan Mitchell to stay here. And star players come and go. Certainly we know that. And you feel like this was the year to try to say to Donovan Mitchell, sign a long-term extension, max deal here, and we can win with you here. And it's not off to a good start. So there's the pressure of making the playoffs, and you just want your team to win. Like, I think we start with a base of we're all Cavs fans, and we want to go try to win a championship again. So it starts there. Well, how do you win championships? With good players. You have a really good player on your team, and you want them to stay. There's all these really hard levels to where the Cavs are at right now, but it's still this ticking clock that you got to do it now. And it's the same thing. The evolution of Evan Mobley. You feel like there's a ticking clock there. You want to see it now. And it comes back. What's the easiest change? What's always, in sports, Ryan, what's the easiest thing to go to? Fire the coach. Fire the coach, fire the general manager. That's the easiest low-hanging fruit in sports. So that's what people are going to gravitate towards. You're not wrong for that. But in the grand scheme of this season, I will tell you, I was about to say, moving on from JB Bickerstaff, I think slows things down here. But then I stop and say, if you're going to do it, you better do it now. You can't make a change come the new year.
So what would that change look like?
I don't know. What are you going to do? Turn over Luke Walton? Greg Buckner's the Sosa head coach? JJ Outlaw? What are you going to do?
What's David Blatt doing?
He unfortunately is very sick.
Oh, is he?
I think he's battling MS.
Oh, gosh.
Sorry. I think. So thoughts and prayers out to David Blatt. But I think... I don't believe he's going to be available to coach anymore. So I think he's a counselor for Tel Aviv, where he was before.
Okay.
So, but your point about, like, what are you going to be able to do? Like, it's not like there are coaches just sitting on the sidelines that you bring. Like, that shakeup, I think, is too much. Because if you do it, if you make the move, there's going to be fallout from that. And you say make a move. It's not like David Blatt and Ty Lue, where you had a guy waiting that you knew was it. That was frankly, and maybe the Cavs made that mistake by not bringing somebody in to kind of be. And now that brings a whole ball of wax of, well, then you got JB looking over his shoulder. Do the players start gravitating towards this player? I know that the players love JB Bickerstaff. I know that. And they don't want to see him go. And frankly, I do think we were staring down the barrel of a coaching move after this season, almost regardless, right? And it's conversation, again, going back to our convo with Danny that we had on Wednesday, go back, get it on our Twitter page, about that debate of a good coaches for a rebuild versus good coaches to go win a championship. And I wanted JB to prove to everybody that he was a coach that can go win a championship. We're not off to a good start on that. We're not off to a good start on proving that. But if the Cavs and Kobe Altman and Dan and Grant Gilbert and everybody involved in that team, if you're there, it's better to make the move now. Me personally, I wouldn't do it. But the next couple weeks are going to be pretty telling. That Boston series in 2 weeks, that's going to be pretty big. And what the Cavs do, again, tomorrow night, Are they going to come out fired up? And basketball is different. You can't go out there and play with raw emotion. But, like, do you think it's starting to infect the team? That ticking clock that I talked about. The Donovan Mitchell stuff. Because Donovan, let's talk about him for a second. Like, it comes off the injury, the hamstring. And you watch games that you go, is he a guy? All right, let's have a real tough conversation here right now. A lot of times basketball is built up that if your star player doesn't have a good game, you're not going to win, okay? And that's usually around the league, right? And that is how the Cavs are built. I think it's going to be really hard for them to win games when Donovan Mitchell does not have... If he's not your leading scorer, I think it's hard to win games. The problem, in my opinion, is I don't think Donovan Mitchell is on the upper echelon of players. And that's crazy for me to say. And there might be people telling me, I don't know basketball and you're insane. But that is another issue that I'm battling with. Is that is he good enough to do that? Is Donovan Mitchell good enough to be your star player on a championship level team? And I hate asking that. I hate that to be in my head. I watch him go off for 40. I watch him score 70. Like that. But when you have a game like yesterday, when he's off and then you lose. And then he's ball controlling. Yeah, he's slowing Evan Mobley's growth. All of those things are on the table, and that's extremely frustrating. I'm not asking them to trade Donovan Mitchell away this year. I'm not. But you put it all in the eggs of him. You put all the eggs in your basket of Donovan Mitchell. You're putting everything on his shoulders, and that's gotten you to 10-9 with him missing some time. And Darius Garland did not. And same thing. Blame goes around. There is nobody that comes out of that game yesterday without a lot of blame to be placed on them, players and coaches included. And I guess just the question is it deserving? Is it deserving for where the Cavs are at as an organization where the season goes? Twitter inbox is up. At Matt Fontana 83, at Matt Fontana Show. Stay or go, JB Bickerstaff. 75-25, go. Moose, no. Get Donovan out of here before JB. JB has done just fine, and the rest of the team has done just fine without Donovan. He comes in and ruins everything. Donovan Mitchell has a lot of value, but we need to cash in. It would definitely make us better than just changing JB. Can I deny that? I don't know. Like, on the whole, you'd be crazy to say, wait a minute, you're going to get rid of a top 15 player in the NBA? That doesn't seem like a good move. And I will say this. I respect the tweet, Moose. I appreciate it. Great name for a dog. Moose. I don't think that solves your problems here. I don't. And when you have a star player, that's the star kind of player basketball you got to play. I don't think the Cavs are better without Donovan Mitchell. Because, okay, the team aspect, okay, you could play better team basketball. You're going to need a star guy coming down 2 minutes to play in a meaningful playoff game or end of season regular game, and you're going to have to look to somebody and say, you got to be him. You got to go get us a point here. You got to make a bucket here. And I have a lot of faith in Darius Garland and Evan Mobley, but I'd have a lot more faith in Donovan Mitchell doing that. That's just where I can't get on board with that. I can't get on board with that. So, with that in mind I can't be on board with getting rid of Donovan Mitchell, and I'm not on board with you and JB Bickerstaff, then what in the hell are we going to do? Go out and win. Just go out and win. That's it. That solves it. It tries to maybe put this behind us all, but it's frustrating this morning. It's extremely frustrating this morning, and I get that. I thought I'd feel a little bit better, kind of letting it go, but I don't think
I feel fine, man.
Do you?
Yeah.
Talk me off the ledge here.
I mean, it's so different from the NFL, right? We see all the time of teams that struggle early. And granted, my comparison I'm making is oftentimes when you do have a player like a LeBron James where you don't necessarily have to worry, and that's definitely not the case with a much younger squad here. But the reality is no matter what, if you get off to a bad start, fingers are going to be pointed, panic is going to be running amok. And it's just the fact that we're not even technically really, I don't believe, a quarter way through the season.
No, you had 19 games.
And like I said before, the sample size that we've
So
seen.
one more, you'll be at the quarter point. But
Yeah.
exactly.
But with the sample size that we've seen with our healthy 5 and healthy rotation, it's been pretty damn good, minus this hiccup against a hapless Portland Trailblazers team. And it's not like we're playing like a 20 whatever year that was when the Cavs won like 18 games the whole season. Like, it's not like we're playing this JV level team. Like,
no, you get the JV level team tomorrow.
Right. And so, like, let's just
The
pump
Pistons
the
are
damn
2-17. I'll tell you this, man.
And then if that
That's-
happens, we can have a
and
real
that's
tough
a good
conversation.
point. Let's see how, and it's a horrible pun on a Friday. Let's see how they rebound from this, okay? Boo. Yeah, I got it.
I've seen the Lakers and the Celtics, and
They coughed one up. Okay, they coughed one up.
It's basketball. You play 80 plus times a season.
And that's the problem is that every little turn like this and a little cough up, that this stuff is going to be there. But what they do from beyond, and we have to allow them the opportunity to fix the situation. And I'm going to do that with JB. But the thing is, people are running out of blanks to give. They are running out of, we'll give them one more, we'll give them one more to figure it out. Cavs have got to go on a little streak here. They have got to show us something here. And I'll tell you this, I don't know what the line is for tomorrow night. I probably don't have it yet. Basketball, they wait to see who plays and it can shift and all that kind of stuff. That will be a 12, 11, probably even more. Last night opening line was 11.5. Tomorrow night against the Pistons is going to be 13. It's on the road, so it's not going to go up maybe that much from the 11, but I'm talking the Cavs better throttle the Detroit Pistons tomorrow night. There is no excuse for that game tomorrow night. But you're right. Let's afford them the opportunity to fix it, knowing that a win tomorrow night against the Pistons probably doesn't equal. It's a win and a win, right? I get it. In the scorebook, it matters. It equals out. But for how we feel, it quite won't. But we got to give them the time.
And it's just like, we're still above 500, Matt. That's the craziest thing to me. Like, I know we had much higher expectations, but to be quite frank, we're still above 500. We're going to be okay. And even if in a world where we weren't a top 3 seed in the East, anything can happen in the playoffs. Like, let's just relax. As long as we're playing our best basketball, by the end of the season, we're going to be fine. We're going to make the playoffs. Like, let's pump the brakes.
So that's the thing. You better beat up on Detroit. And then you have Orlando, Miami, Orlando, Boston, Boston. Those are 5 straight. Miami is in the 6th seed right now. They're better than you. Orlando seems to be a juggernaut. We know who the Celtics are, especially the Celtics at home. My God.
And here's the thing, Matt. I would be much more worried if it seemed like we were in a spot where we kind of fell from our identity, that being a defensive monster. We're still playing good defense. Yes, our offense is lacking. It's going to get remedied. We're going to get hot. Like, we'll be okay. We still have our identity. Sure, we can have questions around who's leading the team and what his leadership, his ceiling is for this to lead this team, but we're going to be all right.
Yep. All right, let's catch a break because I want to flip over to the Browns. That'll make us feel better. Yay! We got the Friday report card, but first we'll talk about some injury updates, see where the Browns are at. We got you locked and loaded. We'll get to the report card. Sunny coming up at 10 o'clock. We'll get to our NFL picks. We got it all locked and loaded. A lot of football coming up. We'll continue the Cavs conversation this morning as well. But I really would say, Ryan, we stopped the show here for some breaking news.
Oh, what would that be?
You get your Grand Theft Auto trailer.
Oh, I already
like
liked that
buddy.
tweet.
Did you like it? Yeah, buddy. Yeah.
Been a long time
Yeah.
coming. Been a long time
10
coming.
years, man, we've been waiting. I know if you're not a gamer out there, if you've heard of Grand Theft Auto, I think most people probably have.
December 5th it was?
Yeah, next week. Yeah, next week. 10 a.m. Let me see. Wait. 9 a.m. I'm sorry. Tuesday, December 5th, 9 a.m.
That'll be right when our show starts.
Oh, we should just start the show with the Grand Theft Auto trailer.
We should have a little live watch.
Can we do that? Are we allowed to do that?
I don't see why
not.
we wouldn't be
Yeah.
able to.
All right, maybe we'll do that on Tuesday. If you're a gamer, that's pretty big news. They've been waiting for Grand Theft Auto 6, right?
Yeah.
Is that just what they're calling it? You know how old I am? You know the last Grand Theft Auto that I played legitimately? Vice City. I will die on this hill. Grand Theft Auto 3 is one of the greatest video games ever made. Ever. First real open world, the cheat codes L1, L1, and R2, R2, up, down, up, down, up, down, unlimited money, unlimited ammo. And I know Grand Theft Auto has turned into a very big franchise. I know a lot of people that love it. They're big fans of it. But that's exciting. I'm excited for the gamers. I'm a gamer myself. I know, Ryan, you're a gamer. I'm excited for all
Matt,
the GTA fans. I'm excited for the
That
GTA
just
fans.
reminded me when we had that debate about have you ever taken a day off of school
Yeah,
or
for
work.
school for
I don't know if I'm gonna be here.
for two. Well, not for. Well, when the game comes out, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Do they know when they're releasing that?
No,
It's not announced
It's
yet?
not going to be for a little while still, but
GTA 6 release date.
well, we're getting crumbs of it, and we'll be good.
All right, so this is from a few things that I see this morning. I'm just quick clicking here. It sounds like it might be earlier than you think. No freaking way.
I would assume the earliest is late next year.
Mashable, which is a pretty reputable website, according to screenshots leaked, pre-orders for the next game might start in 2 weeks.
Yeah, no, they nowadays they pre-order games years in advance.
Really?
Yeah, like
Huh.
like a year in advance. It's insane. I don't know the point of it. I guess I mean you do get certain stuff when you pre-order it, obviously, but I don't know if there's a point of pre-ordering it that early.
They'll make so much money off of that game.
Oh yeah, it'll be insane.
How much did they make off of GTA 5?
I think it's like the third most popular game in the world ever. So
Like 2013. It came out in 2013. That's the last Grand Theft Auto
it's
that we
been
got.
through 3 consoles.
Sales. Dude, within 24 hours of GTA 5's release, they made $815 million.
Yeah, this trailer will easily be the most viewed trailer ever.
In 11 million sales in 24 hours, 10 years
yeah,
ago.
I don't even think it's gonna be close.
By September of this year, Sky News reported that GTA's lifetime game revenue has increased to $8 billion. They could buy an NFL franchise with Grand Theft Auto. Because it's not just the sale of the game, because I know how that works. There's in-game, you got to buy this, you want to buy that. $8 billion. Holy cow. Good for them. Good business to be in if you can be. All right, let's catch a break. We'll talk some Browns. We got our Friday report card. We'll get all that coming up right here on Big Play. Get signed up with our friends at Tipico. You'll see the code when it comes up. You can place our bets. I told you about Seattle last night. Now it got dicey. They needed that stop because I was like, watch, Dallas is going to score a touchdown here and screw us all up. Seattle was in that game. Good night to have the over 2. Sign up with Tipico, folks. What a weekend. All the college football that we're going to bet. We're going to get our picks with Sonny coming up from Tipico. Download the app, bet, deposit, and then bet $25 on anything you want. You get $100 in bonus bets. Big Play 100 is the code to use. Get signed up, make the bets along with us. Pretty good week for us last week, Ryan. I think we're going to keep some momentum rolling here this week. Big slate of NFL and college games. I'm done betting college basketball. I did that long parlay of all the favorites. I missed 3. So I'm done on college basketball. But nonetheless, get signed up. Get our boost. Get our daily boosts here on the show with our friends at Tipico. Sign up today. We come back. Browns, Friday report card. We got it all. Football Friday right here on the Matt Fontana Show. All right, it's football. Ring. It is some football right here on the Matt Fontana Show. Welcome back right here on Big Play. We'll get to our report card coming up 10:15 for Sonny. I was all thrown off for the holiday. 10:15 for Sonny coming up. We'll get our picks with him and Typico and our own NFL picks as well. We start with the Browns, kind of where they're at. We'll see on Myles Garrett. He didn't practice. I think the nice thing about Garrett, he doesn't need to practice, Ryan. Like, we could just get him out there. He'll be just fine. And you play it out from there. I think Amari Cooper, it's been quiet, which I think is good. But the rib injuries always scare me. And I think, obviously, we're staring down the barrel of Joe Flacco starting, which is fine. That's kind of where you've been put yourself this season. So we'll have to see. But the injuries are the big question. And I will get a little bit more. Coach Stefanski said he was confident that Garrett should be able to play. I think that's nice. But, yeah, I mean, Flacco getting the start, you feel a little more comfortable about it. You feel like he's in the offense a little bit. So you should be able to take advantage of just a little more comfortability for him. But the injuries are where it's at for me. It's Myles and Amari. That's where the other one is Denzel Ward, because also, correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan, he has not practiced all week, right?
I don't believe he has.
Yeah, so that's another big one, is you're sitting down the barrel, staring down Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua.
That really sucks, Matt.
Yeah.
That really sucks.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one to go, but we'll see how that goes with that. You want to get to the Friday report card? Let's get to it. So as we always do on a Friday, we compare the teams the Browns will be taking on, and we start with the quarterbacks.
Alrighty, Matt. So I did a
Gotta go Flacco.
Already, Joe Flacco. Those are some good career numbers, I suppose. 84 QBR in his long career, a 61.6 modest completion percentage, and a 232 to 147 touchdown interception ratio. I did the math for us, Matt. That's about a 1.54 touchdown to pick ratio. And then you flip it over to Stafford, who on the year has an 84.8 QBR, a 60.8 completion percentage, and a modest 13 to 9 touchdown to interception ratio. Yeah, I mean, the crazy thing for Stafford is his QBR is only 22nd in the NFL. He's missed games, so his yardage is not quite there. Do you want to know the one thing that stands out to me? His completion percentage is pretty crappy. Yeah, it's not very good.
It's not very good. And yards per attempt is 7.3. Like, it's kind of crazy to see that he doesn't have any of these, like, gaudy statistics, and he turns the football over. He's got 9 interceptions.
Yeah, that's definitely been a knock on him his whole career, even when he was in Detroit, was his turnover ratio. I mean, he's one of those guys. He's a gunslinger, right? He has an absolute cannon for an arm. You get what you see with him. He's going to make great plays, but he's going to turn the ball over here and there.
Sacks, 20 related to he hasn't played a lot. There's some issues on that offensive line, certainly, for the Rams, and they have Myles Garrett coming in. So, yeah, we're going to give the edge to Stafford because he's actually played this season, and I would feel better about Matt Stafford starting for our team than Joe Flacco. But, yeah, this is not the same Matt Stafford team anymore. But, like, McVay still tries to squeeze some magic out of him. The thing is, get pressure. Get pressure. Stafford, while relatively healthy, he's got a lot of nagging injuries. You start putting his butt in the dirt, turf, because I know it's turf, but you start getting some hits on him, and things are going to change. And things will change when he's in that pocket. That comes to Myles Garrett and his health, but it's the same thing. Zadarius Smith and Dalvin Tomlinson and Obo Okoronkwo. I'm looking at all those guys. You got to get in Stafford's face. You want to make this a really hard game to play, you get in Matt Stafford's face. And you make things really hard. Now, the question is, and I apologize, I should have looked this up. Will they go to the quickness? Will they go to the getting the ball out quick for Matt Stafford? And I wanted to try to look up, all right, pocket time in the NFL. Let me search here for Stafford. I apologize. I should have done this before. Matt Stafford has an average pocket time of 2.5. That's pretty standard in the NFL. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that's not the quickest. It's not the slowest. So they might have to speed that up just a little bit to help out that pass rush. Like, 2.5, that's what Jimmy Garoppolo, I'm trying to find some. Josh Allen has 2.4. The quickest of starters, Pickett and Geno Smith, 2.4. Trevor Lawrence, 2.2. Of all like the qualified starters, actually, you want to know what? Of all the qualified starters, the quickest in the NFL, Tua Tagovailoa, 2.1. That's rocket ship out. So I think they're going to speed things up a little bit here on Stafford, try to get that ball out. But the completion percentage is bad, and he turns the football over. Get in his face, make things hard, and get a pick. Ready for this? Guarantee for Sunday, Browns get an interception Sunday. I guarantee it. Guarantee a pick.
You want to call who gets it?
You want to do a boost on Typico?
I would love to. I'm always for the defense.
All right, we'll do a boost. You want to do a boost at the end of the show for Sunday?
Let's do it.
All right, we'll do that at the end.
Alrighty, well, now we move on to the head coach, Matt. And honestly, you can make a case, I suppose. Both are recipients for Coach of the Year. However, one has been to a Super Bowl.
One's got a ring. One's got a ring. Give it to Sean McVay. And I know there was that retirement thing with him, and is there maybe a little bit too much sauce put on Sean McVay over things? I'll listen to that, sure. I understand that. But he still has a Super Bowl. Kevin Stefanski does not. We lean Sean McVay.
Yeah, not too much to debate there, I don't think.
And I will tell you this. These are two coaches that have dealt with a lot of hell and kept things afloat.
Yeah.
Give them both credit for that this year. The Rams have dealt with a lot. The Browns have dealt with a lot more. But both these coaches are similar in the fact that they kept the train on the track so far.
Alrighty, well, we move to the wide receiver group. Matt, this is an interesting one. You have Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, and Tyler Higbee for the tight end sake for the Rams. And it's kind of weird, Matt, because we know how elite Cooper Kupp was just a year ago. His big season 2 years ago. And then we see the emergence of a guy like Puka Nacua, who's come in breaking all types of rookie receiver records. However, when they are on the field together, it kind of seems like they cancel out. When they're separated, they kind of, tend to have their monster games. And then you take it to the Browns side, you got Amari Cooper, who we don't know exactly his status yet. But we did give the nod to the Rams, and I think that's a pretty fair nod.
I think it's fair because Puka's top 10 in the NFL in yards. Here's the crazy thing. Between Puka and Cooper Kupp, they have a combined 4 touchdowns. That's it. So, yes, I think we are right on to say that it's rightful to go over to the Rams because especially beyond Amari Cooper, I have a lot of questions. They have 2 guys that would be your number 1 and number 2. I'm going to say number 1 guys, but it would be like Kupp and Amari are close.
Right.
Puka's better than anybody's second. And I would say that Njoku's in the same world as Tyler Higbee. Maybe a little bit better. I think a little bit better. But yeah, I mean, edge there. It's all coming back to Amari Cooper's injury. But I think it's shocking that these are 2 teams that have wide receivers that don't score touchdowns. Yeah. We know the Browns struggles. Lord knows we know the Browns struggles. But for the Rams, they don't have a lot of wide receivers. At least I should put it this way. At least their 2 main guys are not scoring a lot of touchdowns. So I guess there's some commonality there. Getting Denzel Ward back for this game, I think, would be a huge boost. Like, you're going to need 2 guys out there to try to score. The one guy that I watch, and I really, he's won me some money, to be honest with you, is Tutu Atwell. And his yardage is not there, but it seems like he just makes big catches when you need him to. On the year, what they qualify as a big catch, which a big catch is 20-plus yards. He's got 8 of those this year. Dude, Puka's got 17 20-yard catches this year.
I mean, when you're a rookie, roping in 20 catches in a game.
For 20-plus yards.
That's insane.
That's insane. For the record, for the Cleveland Browns, Amari Cooper has 13. I guess it's not that far off for Amari. He's had some big plays. But watch out for Tutu Atwell in this game, too.
Already wanted the running back position, and Matt never thought a world where, we'd give the Rams a nod here. But obviously, we lost Nick Chubb. And the best name right now in the running back room for these 2 teams is Kyron Williams. He's been playing very, very well, both rushing and receiving in the backfield.
Yeah, 2 receiving touchdowns.
So we've given him the nod here, and I think it's all but fair.
I mean, 3 games, 3 out of his last 4, he's gone over for 100 yards, 103, 53, 158, and 143. I mean, the interesting thing on the Cardinals game, he rushed for 143 and didn't score a touchdown in that game. Yeah. The average, though, is gaudy. He's averaging 9 and 8 yards per carry over his last 2 games. Now, the problem is that he missed all that time, and that second game was back in October. So, game 1 back off the injury, you feel a lot better about it. Just be on your P's and Q's. And then for the Browns, still trying to piecemeal this with Kareem Hunt and Jerome Ford. It's the best he can do at this point.
Yeah, and then we go to the offensive line, and we give the nod to the Browns. That's been the common denominator this season through the Friday report cards, and it remains constant here.
Yeah, I mean, you got to question a little bit about Christian over there on the left tackle and the pass rush, which we'll talk about with the defense coming up here with the Rams. I think, the Browns have slipped a little bit when it comes to their elite status on the offensive line, but I still think for the vast majority, there's only a couple teams that can make the case that they're better. The interesting thing is that the right side, it's really the disparity between the right and left side of the offensive line there for the Rams. Their right guard is their best offensive lineman, Kevin Dotson, the former Steeler. He's over there on the right side. And then Rob Havenstein, their right tackle, he's their second best. They're really kind of average on the other side with Jackson, their left tackle. So you try to maybe play it up that Miles will be rushing off maybe the left side more because that's their weaker side. But for the Rams, their right side is that's their best side of the offensive line. But it's close, but the Browns still have the best interior. I still think the Browns have one of the best interiors in the NFL. So we give them the nod there.
Yeah, and then finally we go to the defense and special teams, and no surprise here, we do give the nod to the Cleveland Browns. We are trying to figure out, whether Denzel Ward's going to be suiting up for this game. If I was to guess, it's not looking great. We know Miles is dealing with a shoulder bug. But nonetheless, we still gave Cleveland the nod as really there might only be one or two teams that we would give the nod over them.
I mean, here's the thing. On that defense, it's Aaron Donald and I know Byron Young's got 5, and they get after the quarterback where they have at least 4 guys that have 4 or more sacks. They don't really create a lot of pressure, though. Like, they only have 25 sacks as a team, which is not very much. But it's Aaron Donald, and really that's it.
Yeah.
Like, again, I mentioned Byron Young. They run the 3-4, so Byron Young's their other edge guy. In their secondary, not great. Really not that good in that secondary, so that should help Flacco a little bit. And I would imagine try to just block Aaron Donald and take your chances with other people. That'll be the mark for the defense. But for the Browns defense, they have a better secondary. I think we have much better linebackers, too, than the Rams. So very clear. This is one of the more clear ones. Browns have a much better defense here than the Rams.
Yeah, I'd agree, Matt. And it seems like at the end of the day, when you add up the report card together, it's not really that far from each other in terms of equivalence. I mean, obviously the Cleveland Browns, I would say, are a better team, especially, no question about it, when they're healthy. But at the end of the day, you got best ability is availability, and right now the Browns are a bit lacking in that department.
The Rams are mediocre in about everything on defense, rushing, passing, and yards allowed. They're all just middle of the pack. 21 yards allowed per game, 217 through the air, and 113 in the ground. That's all around like 20, 18, 17, all just kind of around there in the league. So they really don't do anything all that good, but they still have Aaron Donald, and he can certainly be a game wrecker. All right, Ryan, is that time to get to our bets with Tipico?
Let's go around the league, Matt.
Bet along with us all season on Tipico, folks. Use the code BIGPLAY100. Deposit and bet just $25 on anything you want. The biggest money line you got. And then you get that $100 in bonus bets with our friends at Tipico. So I didn't even add it up. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games to do for the weekend, including Monday Night Football, which will make it 11. Coming up, we'll do that game on Monday. So a little bit of a short slate here. Final week of buys for teams, right? This is the final week for buys, I think.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
Yep.
So we'll have some full slates coming up. Update on the season standings last week. I went a modest 8-6-1 over the Thanksgiving weekend there for an overall record of 75-65-6. Getting quite a few pushes now. Ryan, even 7-7-1 last week for an overall record of 83-57-6. So you got a nice little 8-game lead there on me, Ryan. Let's see if I can try to knock some of that down as we go. We start 1 o'clock slate. The Atlanta Falcons. Resurgence in a way for the Falcons. Traveling to take on the New York Jets at MetLife Stadium. This is a 2-point spread for the Falcons after it opened as a pick'em game, which I think is interesting. You come in for Atlanta. They got that big win over New Orleans to try to keep things afloat. For the Jets, they're not afloat. They have lost 4 straight games. They try to compete in this game. They frankly can't. As far as public money on this game goes, I've got it 64-36 on the side of the Jets. Plus that too, which is pretty interesting. Let's get into some trends here. Atlanta is just 2-8 against the spread their last 6 games, 3-6 straight up in their last 9, but they have played well against the Jets. Atlanta is 4-1 straight up in their last 5 games against the Jets, including 4-2 straight up in their last 6 games when they play at MetLife Stadium. The problem? Atlanta is only 1-10 in their last 11 games on the road. You flip it over for the Jets. They've not covered in their last 5, 0-4-1. They're 1-4 straight up in their last 5. And I mentioned they don't play Atlanta well at home. 2 for the Atlanta Falcons. I don't buy the Falcons at all. I'm going to go with the Jets. I don't trust Atlanta to cover in this game. I'll go with Atlanta. Or I'll go with the Jets.
Do we know if they're going to go back to Zach Wilson?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything. I'm assuming it's Boyle. I haven't heard anything, so I'm going to go Boyle.
Oh God, this is
I don't
such
know.
a gross
Trust me.
game. I'm gonna go. Oh God, I don't even know. I wish I knew who was starting. I'm gonna just be under the impression that they're gonna stick with Boyle, even though I would personally go back to Wilson. So that being said, I'm actually gonna go with the Falcons to cover here.
All right, Falcons cover there, minus that too. The Pittsburgh Steelers welcoming in the Arizona Cardinals. This is a 5.5-point home spread there for the Steelers. They're 7-4. The Cardinals are 2-10, which is kind of crazy, Ryan, that this is only at 5.5. It opened at 2.5. It's up to 5.5. Public money is 60-40 on the side of the Arizona Cardinals. So we know they're a different team now that they have Kyler Murray back, but they just got smoked by the Rams. Pittsburgh coming off a big one again over Cincinnati, so it's really, I don't know what you can take in for all of that. We come in, Arizona is 3-6 against the spread their last 9 games, but they don't play the Steelers well. Arizona's only 2-5 against the spread their last 7 games against Pittsburgh, and 1-6 in their last 7 games against the Steelers. Arizona riding a 9-game losing streak on the road for the Cardinals. You flip it over for the Steelers, 11-4 against the spread their last 15 games, 4-1 against the spread their last 5 home games. 5.5 here for the Steelers. I'm interested to see that the public money is really on the side of the Arizona Cardinals. I think it's partly because they're not buying the Steelers. I'm going to buy Pittsburgh in this game. I think they're maybe fixing some things on that offense. They're still broken. They're still very broken. But I'll go Pittsburgh minus the 5.5. Ryan.
I'm going to go with the public on this one, actually, Matt. I do fully expect the Steelers to win this game. However, like you said, I don't have much faith at all in that Pittsburgh offense to cover a 5.5. So I'm going to give a benefit of the doubt to Kyler to have a decent game and cover that spread.
We got a pick'em game here in the AFC South. The Colts traveling to Nashville to take on the Tennessee Titans. Colts at 6-5 in a playoff spot. The Titans are at 4-7. This line is pretty much held. It was 1.5 for Tennessee. I've got it down now to 1 for the Colts. I said shouldn't hold, but I'm sorry, it flipped actually. Tennessee was the favorite. It is now on the side of the Colts. Let me get you the NFL public money on this here in 1 second. Sorry, I closed my I have a lot of tabs open as I run through all the games, and I accidentally closed the one I was looking at. What do we got here? What do we got here? Tennessee. 70-30 on the side of the Titans. Interesting. We start with the Colts in this one. They're a winner of 3 straight. Now, the thing is, they've beaten Tampa Bay, New England, and Carolina. Not really good football teams. For Tennessee, they just beat Carolina after a 3-game losing streak to Jacksonville, Tampa Bay, and Pittsburgh. So you have a lot of common opponents for this game. Indianapolis, 4-1 against the spread their last 5 games. 4-1 straight up in their last 5 games on the road. But here's an interesting one. The Colts are only 1-5 against the spread and 1-5 straight up in their last 6 games against Tennessee. But the Colts are 8-3 against the spread their last 11 games on the road against the Titans. You flip it over for Tennessee. They're only 2-5 against the spread their last 7 games, but Tennessee is 4-1 against the spread their last 5 games at home. You're up first on this one, Ryan. Basically a pick'em game at -1 for the Colts. I guess you could play for the tie here if you really want to. Your selection, Colts, Titans.
Yeah, the Colts, like you mentioned, are riding that 3-game win streak, and they're really right there still in the hunt with a win. Get to an impressive 7-5, all things considered. They will be without Jonathan Taylor. We know the divisional game. This will be one will be scrappy. I'm just going to ride the Minshew magic a little bit more. I'll take the Colts to win this one, Matt.
We'll differ then. I'll take the Titans just for the essence. I think it could go either way. My gut probably says Colts, but I'll take the Titans in that one here. The Broncos traveling to take on the Texans. This is a 1 o'clock kick in NRG Stadium. Of course, we know Houston. Dude, Denver is 6-5. They have the same record as the Houston Texans. What a crazy ride it's been for Denver. Of course, we just saw the Broncos and the resurgence of Russell Wilson. Line has been 3 all week. 3 on the side of the Houston Texans. As far as the public money for this game goes, I've got it about 55-45, just a slight edge towards the Houston Texans for this one. Let's jump into the trends. Of course, we know for Denver, they're riding a 5-game win streak. We just saw them against us. For Houston, a tough loss to Jacksonville, but they play a lot of these teams really, really close. It is at NRG Stadium. Denver is 4-1 against the spread their last 5 games, but they're also 4-1 straight up in their last 5 games against the Houston Texans. Now, what Denver has not been good at is on the road. They're only 3-13 straight up in their last 16 games on the road. You flip it over for Houston, they're not covering right now. They're only 1-4 against the spread their last 5 games, but they are 6-3 against the spread their last 9 games. The under seems to be the play, though, for this one. Under 4 out of the last 5 games at home for Houston, and the under 4 out of the last 5 games between Houston and Denver. Over-under for this game is set at 47, so we don't do the over-unders, but just a little interesting one there. 3 for the Houston Texans. I'm going to ride Houston in this one. Something's got to come crashing down eventually for the Denver Broncos. Maybe this is the game. I'll go Houston. I don't believe Denver on the road is the same team.
Yeah, this is a really, really interesting game. 2 of the most interesting storylines in football, really, with the Denver Broncos resurgence, and then C.J. Stroud, one of the best rookie campaigns we've ever seen. This one is really tough. I do like your logic. I just feel like I'm in the mood to ride the hot hand, so maybe I'm going to go Denver, and then if anything, it just keeps our differing picks interesting.
I love it. Miami taking on the Washington Commanders. This is at FedEx Field there in D.C., or outside of D.C., Landover, I should say. 10.5 is the spread, opened at 6.5, and I think it is insane, Ryan, that public money is 50-50 on this game. At 9 for the Miami Dolphins. You can very clearly tell I am taking Miami. There's no way that the Washington Commanders, that it's leaking out, that they can move on from Ron Rivera. Miami's on a mission here. I think this is all Miami. 8-3 straight up in their last 11 games. 10-4 against the spread their last 14. The only problem is Miami doesn't play all that well on the road. They're only 3-8 straight up in their last 11 games on the road. For the Commanders, though, they're not good at home. They're 0-4-1 against the spread. Their last 5 games at home, only 1-5 straight up in their last 6 games. I'm not buying anything Washington is selling. I think this is Miami, and I think this is Miami by at least 10.
Yeah, I'm going to roll with Miami as well. I just think that's a smart, safe pick. However, I will say I wouldn't be totally surprised to see Washington cover this spread at home. We've seen them play pretty good teams like the Eagles very well multiple times this season. When you have a guy like Sam Howell, a gunslinger who gets you the yardage and touchdowns. But the thing is, with that does come the turnovers, which you hate to see. But I'm going to roll with the Dolphins with you, man.
All right, I hate betting the Chargers. I hate betting the LA Chargers. They go up to Gillette. They're taking on the Patriots. This is a 5.5-point spread. It's up a point from 4.5. It's because public money slightly on the Chargers, 60-40 public money on the side of the LA Chargers. We all know the issues going on with the Patriots and what they have. It's a home game for them. I guess there's something to be read. Chargers, losers of 3 straight. The Patriots, losers of 4 straight. Chargers 2-5 against the spread their last 7 games. Do you want a stat going into this game, Ryan? The Chargers are 0-7 straight up and against the spread their last 7 games against the Patriots. Now that goes back historical, and that sometimes goes back to Bill Belichick having something dialed up there for Justin Herbert. Chargers have not won their last 5 games at Gillette Stadium, by the way. So the trends are not good for the Chargers. They're worse for New England. 1-8 against the spread their last 8 games. 1-8 against the spread their last 9 games at home. 5.5. I'm going to do it again. LA Chargers to cover. You better do it, Herbert. Damn it.
Yeah, Matt.
I've had enough of the LA Chargers. What's the weather like for that game?
I have no idea.
There's no data. I don't have the data available.
But yeah, this is one of those games where it's just, I know you have your thing with the Chargers. It's just,
you know me, man.
This is one of those games. Don't think too hard into it. The Chargers should definitely cover. And this is kind of interesting, Matt, too, because should they lose, not only is Staley probably first flight out of LA, however, against a Bill Belichick team who's been linked to a team like the Chargers, should he finish his career elsewhere. So kind of maybe interesting implications behind the scenes for this game.
Another really interesting game down there at the Superdome. The Saints at 5-6 welcoming in the Detroit Lions. The Lions are a road 4.5-point favorite. That's up a point from 3.5. As far as the public money goes, this is 80-20 on the side of the Detroit Lions to cover as a road favorite. Now, coming to this game for Detroit, they're coming off that little bit of a shocking loss to Green Bay. For New Orleans, they might have sealed their fate with 2 straight losses to the Vikings and the Falcons. And you might say they're out of it, but they still are trying to breathe, I think, just a little bit. Detroit, 15-5 against the spread their last 20 games. 7-2 straight up in their last 9. Now, here's where it changes. Detroit is only 2-7 against the spread. Their last 9 games against New Orleans, they're only 3-6 straight up in their last 9 against the Saints. But Detroit is 5-1 against the spread their last 6 games on the road. For the Saints, 1-5 against the spread their last 6, 3-6 straight up in their last 9. And I was so ready to pick the Saints. They are 0-6 against the spread their last 6 home games. You go here. New Orleans is only 5-13 straight up in their last 18 games as the dog. Tell me not to pick the Saints. Please tell me not to pick the Saints.
So, yeah, I'm picking between this one, too. I do want to say the Lions with an expected bounce-back effort, disappointing loss to Green Bay, like you mentioned. And then you look at the side of the Saints. They 2 games skid. They really, honestly, probably need to win this game, considering you would think Atlanta's going to win against the Jets, so that would give them an even more division lead. So I do want to say the Saints, Matt, but for the sake of it, I'm going to go with the Lions.
I'm going to go with the Lions, too. You want to know why? I say that about the Chargers. The Saints are a team I need to stop believing in. They truly are a team that I need to stop believing in. Detroit across the board for us, minus that 4.5. Tampa Bay, only a 5. Tabor. The answer to that question is no. I will take Tampa Bay straight up right now in this game, minus that 5.5. I'll get you some trends. There's no way in hell that Tampa Bay is losing this game. Now, they're only 4-7, which I get. And this line is down. It started at 6.5. It's now down to 5.5 or 5, depending on some of the places that you can get it. Public money, 75% of it is on the Carolina Panthers. Why? This is honestly one of my locks of the weekend, is Tampa Bay to win this game and cover. There's no way that the Carolina Panthers are going to rally around Chris Tabor to get a win here. Carolina 2-7 against the spread their last 9 games. They're only 1-5 against the spread their last 6 games against Tampa Bay, and 1-5 straight up in their last 6 games against Tampa, and 1-5 straight up their last 6 games down in Tampa. Carolina 0-6 against the spread their last 6 games on the road. Tampa's terrible, 1-6 straight up in their last 7, but they are 4-1 against the spread their last 5 games, and they, as I mentioned, they kind of own Carolina. I think this is Tampa Bay all the way here.
Yeah, not much to be said here. I'm going to roll with the Bucs as well, Matt.
The marquee game of the weekend, 4:25 Lincoln Financial Field. The San Francisco 49ers at 8-3 travel to take on the 10-1 Philadelphia Eagles. This line is pretty much held steady at 3. It was 2.5. Oh, wait. The 49ers are favored now. It flipped.
No, I think they've actually always been favored.
Well, I had it opening as Philly being the favorite. Now the 49ers are the favorite in this game, which is pretty crazy to say. When's the last time a 10-1 team was a dog at home?
Probably never, honestly.
Public money, 73% of it, San Francisco. That's why. That's why. It's all there on the side of the San Francisco 49ers. Huh. All right, here we go. San Fran just 2-4 against the spread their last 6 games. How about this against Philadelphia? San Francisco is only 2-9 against the spread their last 11 games against the Eagles, and only 3-8 straight up in their last 11 against the Eagles. San Fran is 8-3 straight up in their last 11 games on the road. You flip it over for the Eagles, they've covered 4-0-1 against the spread their last 5 games, and they're 8-1 straight up in their last 9 games at home. Ryan Kester, place your bet here. Eagles, 49ers, San Fran, a road 3.5-point favorite.
Yeah, Matt, this is actually, I would consider it my lock of the weekend. I'm going all day Philadelphia
I'm taking
to cover
Philly
that.
too. I'm taking Philly.
The only real knock that people have on the Eagles is they maybe not dominate like we've seen the 49ers do, but at the end of the day, Matt, I don't care. A win's a win in the NFL, and they have more than the 49ers. 49ers might have more dangerous, explosive weapons, but I still believe the Eagles are a more complete unit. They're playing best ball maybe in the league right now. Give me the Eagles all day at home.
I like Philly because I'll tell you, I've been selling the Eagles short, and it's time for me to stop doing that. I'll take Philly to cover that as well. Sunday Night Football up at Lambeau. You know this is Patrick Mahomes' first trip to Lambeau? He's never played there. So he will remedy that Sunday night. Chiefs, Packers. Chiefs 8-3. Packers are 5-6. This is a 5.5-point spread or 6, down from 7.5. Kansas City the favorite there. As far as public money goes on this one, 60-40 on the side of the Green Bay Packers, which I think is pretty interesting. Let's get to some trends on this one. I start with KC, 5-2 against the spread their last 7 games. But against Green Bay, they win, but they don't cover. KC is 7-3 straight up in their last 10 games against Green Bay, but they're only 1-4 against the spread their last 5 games. Kansas City is 8-1 straight up straight up in their last 9 games on the road. You flip it over for Green Bay. Don't have many good trends for them, to be honest with you. KC, back and forth on wins, loss. They've played some really tough games. For Green Bay, a little resurgence here. They've won 3 out of their last 4, including wins over Detroit, the Chargers, and the Rams. See, here's the thing. 6 is a big number.
Don't think too hard, Matt.
They're getting Aaron Jones back for the Packers.
Don't think
but
too
you
hard,
and I
man.
are on the same page. Kansas City is the pick here.
Yeah, absolutely. And the way I look at it is Lambeau Field is an historically difficult place to go play, but it's not going to be for a guy like Patrick Mahomes. And that Chiefs defense is going to suffocate Jordan Love.
All right, great stuff. When we return, Sonny Gupta going to join us, focus in a lot on the college side of things. We are going to get all of the Power 5 games locked up, ready to go with Sonny. He'll have all the selections for that, and we'll dive into some NFL games with him as well. Sonny Gupta from Tipico going to join us next right here on the Matt Fontana Show. right, let's get back into some college football. Welcome back. Big Play, Matt Fontana Show. Use that code BIGPLAY100 when you get signed up with Tipico, folks, and you can be placing bets with us all weekend long. College, dude, I get so excited for a game tonight. Tonight, 8 o'clock, we get to sit down and watch the rematch in the Pac-12 championship. Oregon, Washington. So here's how we're going to roll. Ryan, you and I will make our picks on the Power 5. You know, that doesn't count towards our NFL scores, but I'll be interested to see Monday how we play things.
Are we going to do straight up or spreads?
Spreads.
Okay.
Spreads. Can I be honest with you for a second? Doing straight up is copping out. I know that there's, like, we can bet now in the state of Ohio. Do the spreads. Man up out there or woman up out there and do the spreads. Come on now. It's what we do on the show. So we'll do spreads here, Ryan. We don't cop out. Let's go. Tipico Big Play 100 is a code. Deposit and bet $25. Get that $100 in bonus bets. This one is insane. Oregon.
That's exactly why I asked.
Washington. Ryan, 10. We know 36-33 in that matchup in the regular season. It's 8 o'clock. They're playing this actually at Allegiant Stadium where the Raiders play. Oregon, and at Ohio State, there's this, crazy path. I don't think it's going to happen. But part of that is they need Oregon to lose. They need Oregon to lose this game. And in fact, they basically need 3 double-digit dogs to pull off upsets this weekend. That's not happening. So you have Oregon, Washington, and I think the 10-point spread is so nuts. Yes, I know Oregon has turned it on, and they took it down Oregon State and throttled them, and they beat all these other teams out. But for Washington, I think it's probably more in the past 2 weeks, they've had a combined 5-point win total. The week before against Utah, just a 7-point win. They haven't blown teams out, while Oregon has, and they've been on the path. I think Oregon wins this game, Ryan, but I'm going to take Washington to cover.
Yeah, I would be very shocked to see Washington win. I mean, everything in the stars is kind of trending towards Oregon. That is such a absurd
insane
spread given the rankings, man. I'm gonna go with Washington to cover as well, and maybe that's me kind of hoping it's a good game, as it should given the stakes. I gotta go to Washington to cover as well.
Yeah, another big one here. Big 12 now. Texas, a 15-point favorite taking on Oklahoma State. If you don't know about the Cowboys, they have 3 losses on the year, but only one of them was in conference? Yeah, UCF, and they got blown out by them, by the way. So Oklahoma State, BYU, they beat Houston. They beat Oklahoma this year. They beat your Cincinnati Bearcats. And then, of course, they're taking on Texas, who lost to Oklahoma, had that big one over Alabama earlier in the year. They're riding high, 15-point spread. Let me give you some trends here to help make your decision. Oklahoma State comes in 6-2 against the spread their last 8 games. They are 7-1 straight up. And they're actually 4-1 against the spread their last 5 games against Texas, and 6-2 straight up in their last 8 games against Texas. Oklahoma State 4-1 against the spread their last 5 games against a Big 12 opponent. For Texas, 6-0 straight up in their last 6. They are 8-1 straight up in their last 9 games against a conference opponent. Place your bet here, Ryan. 15 for Texas.
Yeah. So do we know is DJ Ugalele? Ugalele? I know.
He plays at Oregon State, not Oklahoma State.
Oh,
he plays at Oregon State. Oregon State, yeah.
That's right.
And he'll be leaving the Oregon State Beavers.
I guess I'll go with Texas.
I'm
to
taking
cover.
Texas too. Yeah.
I'm not confident by any means in that, but honestly, I thought if you had asked me a month ago or whatever it was before Oklahoma lost, I really thought they were going to run away with the Big 12. That kind of surprised me a little bit. And if Texas does get this win, they don't really need that much to have a compelling argument. We'll just see how the committee feels about Bama.
All right, probably the marquee one. Georgia, Alabama, a combined 23-1. Alabama really coming back strong after that loss to Texas. This is a 5.5-point spread I have on the side of Georgia. -5.5. This is down there actually at Mercedes-Benz Stadium there in Atlanta. Over under set at 55.5. Let's get to some trends here. For Georgia, 1-7 straight up in their last 8 games against Alabama. How about that? But Georgia, 18-0 straight up in their last 18 games played against the SEC opponent. You flip it over for Bama, 4-1 against the spread their last 5 games. Of course, they've turned things around after that loss. Alabama, 5-2 against the spread their last 7 games as a dog. Bama, Georgia, 5.5 on the side of the Bulldogs. Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Georgia in this one. I mean, it's good. It's gonna be an amazing game as expected. You know, Alabama did really their second half of the season, all because of Jalen Milroe's turnaround. He's been playing as one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. You'd like to think Georgia's eventually gonna fall off, given that they're back-to-back and still undefeated, which is just insanely impressive. I'm gonna roll with Georgia. They're just rolling every team they play in these last couple games with great wins against top 10 ranked opponents. And Carson Beck's been playing much better than he was in the beginning of the season. They got Brock Bowers back. I'm gonna go with Georgia in this one.
Do you want to do the ACC?
We have to.
I guess we have to. Florida State taking on Louisville. This actually is the closest spread. 1.5 on the side of Florida State. I'm going to go with some goodwill here, and I'm taking Louisville plus that 1.5. I'm not even going to give you trends on it. I'm going to take them plus that 1.5.
I'm going to go Florida State just because I want them to go undefeated, because I want to see all the controversy regarding keeping them out because of their loss. So I'm going to roll with Florida State.
All right, final one, a 21.5 point spread for the Michigan Wolverines taking on the Iowa Hawkeyes in the Big Ten Championship. I think this is pretty easy to set up that Michigan's going to cover this and blow it on out, so I will take Michigan there to cover. Sonny was not even here for me to tell him that I would take Michigan in that game.
I'm definitely going to take Michigan as well, no doubt about it.
Michigan's 5-1 against the spread their last 6 games against Iowa.
Although I would pay a lot of money to see Iowa upset them.
I would love to see that. I think that would be absolutely fantastic. But nonetheless, here we are. So you're taking Michigan too, right? You said?
Yep.
All right, Michigan it is. There's our bets on our Power 5. We'll see. And that's the crappy thing. We go into this weekend knowing that Ohio State has no prayer. Like, they need so many crazy things to happen. They're, in my opinion, I don't think one of the better teams in college football that deserve to make it. They're going to be left out. And, I mean, like college football, I think this weekend is as close as they're going to get. And it's the final one that they're going to get where every one of these games does matter. Because none of these teams outside of Georgia, in my opinion, well, if Michigan loses, do you think they'll still go?
To the playoff?
Yeah.
If they lose to Iowa?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. So that's what I was going to say. You have 10 teams. Of the 10 teams, I think 8 of them are in legitimate playoff contention. Okay? The only ones that aren't, Oklahoma State, even if they win, I don't think. And I don't think Louisville. They're out. So Iowa's out. I was out. So 3. So of the 10 teams, 7 of them are in legit college football playoff contention. And of those 7, I would say 6 of them are in a win and get in. Georgia, which maybe isn't even quite as assured as you would think, is the only one that I can make the case that if they lose, they could still get in. So this is a perfect scenario for the college football and specifically the committee coming up for this weekend. Every game matters. Every game matters. We know this. Georgia wins, they're in. Michigan wins, they're in. The Pac-12, if Washington wins, they're in.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're not.
Yeah.
They lose, they're only taking 1. And I would think they would take Oregon.
They'll take Oregon, yeah.
I've said this about Florida State.
No, you have to, Matt.
They're not going.
Yes, they will.
No, I don't think so.
If they win, they're going to get
I don't
get
think
in.
so.
I
really don't think so.
How can you not, though, Matt? I get the argument because you lose Jordan Travis.
The whole point of the committee is to take the best teams. And Florida State without Jordan Travis is not one of the best teams.
But how do you know that?
Because okay, go back to Florida State for a second.
Okay.
What game did he they've played 2 games without him?
Yeah, and they blew teams out.
Who were the 2 teams that they blew out? That's what I'm looking up right now.
Yeah, you're going to have to recall it for me.
Son of a gun. Hang on 1 second. Pull it up. Hey, wait. All right. And Louisville is number 15. They're not making that jump. I think even if they win, they're out. in the 2 games that Florida State's played, they beat Florida, and I don't say blow them out, and then they beat, I don't even know who this team is. This other team. N-A-L-A? I don't even know. I don't think they're making it. I don't. So if they're out, then we start talking Texas, who I think actually will sneak their way into this. I really have a feeling now that it's going to be Texas that slides in. So here's my 4. I think it's going to be Georgia, Oregon, Michigan, and I think Texas slides their way in. Now, here's the thing. I took Alabama to cover.
So you
the bet. Well, actually, you want to know what I think the best or the most, because the Texas win over Alabama, people are going to jump on that. And my thing is that was 2 months ago. 2 months ago that they beat. I would take Alabama over Texas. So I take that back. Texas is not making it. I think it's going to be Georgia, Michigan, Oregon, and Bama. And do they really want to set Georgia-Bama up again, 1-4 in the semifinal? Would they do that?
Wow. So you're saying both Georgia and Bama get in?
I think so. I think
so you think Bama's going to win?
I think Bama's going to win that game. I do. I'm going to cover. I think they're going to win that game.
Wow.
I do. So I think they're going to make it. And then they would make it over Texas, because even if Texas blows out Oklahoma State, they will bitch that, oh, hey, we beat them early. Dude, that was 2 months ago. And Alabama right now is a better team than Texas. If they played again this weekend, I think Alabama wins that game. So, and there was some craziness. It's not like Texas blew them out, and they needed like a last-second play to get that win there.
I think they won double digits.
Did they?
I'm almost certain. I believe.
I might be thinking of Texas or Alabama had needed that last second to beat Auburn, which again is another knock there on the Crimson Tide.
You cannot put I would be so disappointed.
I'm just saying, I will tell you this. I will listen to everything that you're saying.
Yeah, no,
because I don't have much skin in this game. I don't really care.
I would just be so disappointed in the system, as we all already kind of are, if they were to put in a Bama over an undefeated Florida State. But I mean, I guess they are 12-1 SEC champions, and I guess
they lost to Texas 34-24. So it was double digits, right? 10 points there. So. But that was the second game of the year. That was September 9th. That was literally 3 months ago.
I need to see them put in Florida State if they go undefeated.
They're not going, man.
Dude, it's the same logic for Buckeye fans.
But that was years ago. And I frankly said at that time I wouldn't be shocked if Ohio State didn't make it. And they were undefeated. Well, I guess Florida State's going to be undefeated too. But I don't know. And they could prove me wrong. This is perfect for college football. This is exactly set up how you want college football to be. This weekend means everything. Everybody's going to be glued to every game and seeing exactly how that goes. And there are here's the thing. Even if every game, if I told you exactly how every game plays out, there's still multiple scenarios about who makes it, right? That's fun. That's fun for the committee. That's fun for college football, but it's also going to be, no matter what, you're pissing somebody off. You know what I mean? There's going to be some group of people out there that's upset because they feel like they rightly deserve to make it, and they didn't. So we'll see. It's going to be hard to watch, I think, because, we could sit there and try to make the scenario for Ohio State to make it. In reality, just let it go. Just let it go.
No, they have no business.
Yeah, they have no business. So just let it go. And I think you'll enjoy the weekend a little bit more. But I'm super excited for tonight. 8 o'clock, Oregon, Washington. What's your favorite game for the weekend? Is it Georgia-Bama or is it Washington-Oregon?
It's Washington-Oregon for sure.
Me too. It's going to be nice. We'll watch that all tonight. Get signed up with Tipico. Use that code BIGPLAY100. Deposit and bet $25. You get $100 in bonus bets. That's going on all throughout the weekend for new customers with our friends at Tipico. Back to the Browns for this weekend. It's weird that we started talking Cavs, and it's just as this week has gone on, I've not really felt the juice for the Browns and the Rams. And I think it's in part with where the Browns are at, with the issues they've been facing. But them going to Joe Flacco, Ryan, gives me a little intrigue to feel like there's a chance that they could go win this football game. As far as how the Browns need to do it, it's going to have to be what they have done in the past, or at least attempt to do in the past. Run the football, ball control, and Joe Flacco not turning the football over. The Rams are a real sneaky team. I think they're a really sneaky team where if we sleep on them, they're going to beat us, and they're going to beat us by double digits, and that's not even going to be a question. I think being at home, them being out there at UCLA, I can't understate how important I think that is. For this team to be the group, for them to be together, out there, recalibrate a little bit, and get after it. That's my hope for this team as they get ready for this game this weekend. And relative of waiting on Myles Garrett and also Amari Cooper injury updates, which we won't get till later today, and we'll see that could change things a little bit. But Ryan, I don't frankly know how this game is going to go. You know, we don't bet the Browns here on the show just for good karma and all that kind of stuff, but I really don't know how this game is going to play out on Sunday. I don't.
And you could say what I'm about to say for pretty much every game because it's the NFL and any given Sunday, everybody knows that. But it just feels like there's such an extreme range of possible outcomes. That being, the Browns defense could do what they do best, get to Stafford, cause havoc, and they could glide to an easy 14-6 victory, right? I could see also the opposite. And like you said, we come out a little slow. Stafford, with that momentum in his 4-touchdown game, they find some holes to expose if Denzel Ward doesn't play, right? And especially if Denzel Ward doesn't play and we aren't getting to the quarterback, receivers like Puka and especially Cooper Kupp are going to cook us in the middle of the field. So really, I do see a wide range, possible range of outcomes. And Matt, we did talk about yesterday on the show that little tidbit about the last quarterback to win on the West Coast was Brandon Weeden back in 2012. It almost just seems poetic that the guy to fix that would be Joe Flacco.
Yeah, and what Flacco brings, there is, at least he's been now in the system for a week. They should be able to open things up relative of what they want to do. And I know Amari Cooper has mentioned excuse me, apologize. Damn dry air in here. You know, Amari Cooper has mentioned the excitement about having Flacco in there and being able to air it out a little bit. I think there's a little potential for Flacco to unlock some things with Elijah Moore and with David Njoku. And 20 points is going to be my goal for the Browns for this game. That's it. I want to see us. I'll put it at 21. Oh, my God. I want to see 3 touchdowns out of them. Some of that's going to have to be on Flacco. Some of that's going to have to be on the ground game. And that will get us, Ryan, to our Typico Boost right here on the show. So we do this each and every week. We do a lot of Cavs games, which we've been close on. But, Ryan, let us set now a Typico Boost, which you can find with our great friends at Typico. This will be our show boost for the game. So first question I have for you. Do you want to do a 3-leg or a 4-leg? There's something about a 4-leg Friday Fontana parlay.
I love the alliteration.
You like that? All right, so let's do 4. So let me scroll over to the Browns here. I'm on the Typico app. And I'll tell you what, this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to lay out a bunch of things, and we're going to grab a couple that we like. So anytime touchdown score, Kyren Williams is minus 125, Cooper Kupp plus 145, Jerome Ford plus 175, Puka, Royce Freeman, Amari Cooper's plus 240. Kareem is plus 245, Njoku plus 275, Tyler Higbee plus 330. Tyler Higbee's had 4 touchdowns on the year, by the way. The over for the game, 40.5. Relatively low a little bit there. Yeah. Let's go to some of the individual player props here on this one. Passing yards, Stafford over under 232.5. Passing touchdowns, Stafford over under 1.5. Interceptions thrown, over a half. I'm going to say that right now. One of the ones we are going to do is over 1.5 interceptions for Matt Stafford. Book that. That's it right there. And they don't have Joe Flacco in this yet just because he's not in there. Player to rush for 40 yards. Kyren Williams is minus 295. Jerome Ford minus 200. Then you have the 50-yard mark. Player to receive 100 yards. Puka is plus 500. Cooper plus 500. Amari Cooper is plus 600. Anything that you like there?
I don't know if you mentioned this, but one I really like in well, you said the Flacco isn't up yet, because I was gonna say one I really like and I'm definitely gonna smash is Jerome Ford's receiving yards over. I just see a lot of dinks in the future, and Jerome Ford has been really good at that lately.
So receiving yards, I don't have Ford in this. I've got Cooper, Njoku, and Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore is only under 34.5.
Yeah, so I mean, if we do feel like Joe Flacco can unlock an element of Elijah Moore that our
You want to
other
go over
quarterbacks-
34.5 then for Elijah Moore?
It would definitely make for an interesting parlay. Absolutely.
All right, we're going to add that. Hang on, I'm refreshing here. All right, we need 2 more things then.
Just a safe one. I really do like that anytime touchdown score, and the odds reflect it being that Kyron Williams. I think they're gonna get a rushing touchdown, and if it's gonna be anyone, odds are it's gonna be Williams.
All right, we need 1 more then. We're already plus 505 on this. Yeah, I'd like a little more of like a guarantee on this or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some low odds.
Well.
Player to rush for 40 yards. I like Jerome Ford minus 200 there.
Yeah,
40 yards
that
for him.
should be a very easy obtainable mark for him.
All right, plus 808. I'm going to screenshot that. I'm going to send it to you, Ryan, so we can get it to our friends at Tipico. They'll boost that up for us. Over just one interception for Matt Stafford. Elijah Moore over 34.5 receiving yards. Kyron Williams an anytime touchdown score, and Jerome Ford to rush for 40 or more yards. Sending that over. Get signed up with Tipico and get that bet rocking and rolling there. Is this a must-win game for the Cleveland Browns?
I
was
would
going
say
back and
so.
forth if I wanted to ask that question this morning of this being a must-win game for the Browns. Because we said going out on the West Coast, I asked for 1-1. So you lost 1 at Denver. You would then say this is a must-win game there. The problem is I then kind of recalibrated to say I think it's a must-win of going 1-1 between the Rams and the Bears. So if you fall in this game, I'm going to put everything I have on the Bears in 2 weeks. You have the Jags in between that. And then again, here's why I think it's a must-win. You're still chalking up that the Jets and the Bengals are for sure wins. And I know the Bengals seem like that is a must-win game. The Jets are the ones that I get a little concerned about, a little bit. That is Thursday night football. That is home here, so that helps everything out too. But I have that little fear about that. Ryan, I think this is a must-win game for the Browns on Sunday against the Rams. I do.
Yeah, I would agree in the sense of that's me honestly being a little bit concerned about the Chicago Bears. And I you would think that we should win that. And I agree with you, Matt.
Games that were a lock, those two are now questions. Now it's kind of a flip because you had Houston as like a lock win, and that's not a case at all.
Right.
And you had Cincinnati as maybe a loss, and now all of a sudden that seems to be a lock win. Like here we are entering the last month of football, and a lot of things have turned on their heads. I will say that I think the Rams are actually a little better than I thought.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
People, yes, they got off to a kind of slow, they did win week 1 in Seattle, which was kind of surprising. And I mean, you got to give credit to McVay. I feel like anytime you have a McVay-led team, you're going to find something out of nothing on offense. And you still have Stafford, who is 2 years removed from a Super Bowl, and Cooper Kupp, who hasn't had the year we thought he was going to, battling some injuries. But he's still one of the best route runners in the league, and the stuff we've seen him do is amazing. And on top of that, you add an emergence of 2 amazing offensive weapons in Puka Nacua and Kyron Williams. The Rams really are nothing to scoff at.
No. And how the Browns, the path to victory, so to speak, I think a lot of it will rest on the defense. If Denzel Ward can play in this game, that's going to be huge. Because slowing down Puka and slowing down Cooper Kupp. But the problem is that the Rams are starting to run the football a little bit. I feel like this is a different Rams team than they've been for like the month of October. I don't think they were truly, they were just missing pieces. Cooper was hurt, Stafford was battling injuries, and now they get Kyron Williams back. I said I don't have a vibe for this game, but if I had to pick Ryan, I'm not feeling good.
Oh, me neither.
That's scary.
Me neither.
I don't feel good about it. And the Browns have got to get off to a good start. That's number one. They have some slow ass starts. And that you wanted a lock maybe, for our Tipico is the first half spread or the first quarter spread. Probably take the Rams in that. Because the Browns have they've been stumbling out of the gates. And they found ways to try to come back into some games, sure. But there's only so much magic. What are your expectations for Joe Flacco? We mentioned we don't have any props for him. on Tipico yet because they have to formally announce that he'll be the starter. What's your dream scenario for Joe Flacco? I'm thinking somewhere around 30 attempts, which is high, but I think you're going to have to throw 30 odds sometimes. I'm going to ask for about $180, a couple of touchdowns, maybe an interception. I think that's really where we're lining up to be.
Yeah, I mean, my realistic stat that I would be comfortable and okay with him going out and putting up, I would say I'd like to see 200 because I do think we might be down at certain times in the game. So I do expect him to kind of unleash the cannon a little bit. I would like 200 yards, Matt, and then a touchdown and a pick, I think is a realistic stat line for Flacco this week.
Yeah, and what Stefanski's able to dial up and what they're able to do with Flacco will be pretty evident early. That's the thing. Are they going to go short dink and dunk because he's a little rusty, because he hasn't played this year? Or what Joe Flacco does best is air it out and open up down the field. And your two biggest down the field threats should be Amari Cooper and David Njoku. Get Elijah Moore down there. And then the run game, who it's not been there. The other factor on the run game is everybody complained about it last week. Everybody made a mention about how they didn't run the football. That finds its way to Berea, folks. I know it does. So is Kevin Stefanski going to come out in this game and try to establish run where he admitted they should have ran the football more? Is that going to be in the back of his mind? But to do that, you can't let the Rams go down and score 2 touchdowns and play it out exactly like you did in the Denver game and let them score 2 touchdowns, and all of a sudden now you got to start throwing. It's just so much unknown, man. It is literally so much intrigue about how this game's going to go. And I think the Rams being favored is right. I think that line is set pretty close to what it should be. But I just don't have a good feeling. I don't know why.
I think another thing that I'm not thrilled about, Matt, is a real knock on our defense. There's really few you can do, but is that there's been times where, yes, we've been locked down, but we've given up a really explosive play here and there, mainly in our secondary. And I feel like if there was a quarterback that's going to take advantage of it, that has a skill set and that won't be afraid to risk throwing those balls downfield, it is a player like Matt Stafford. And then you pair that with an explosive player like Puka Nacua on the outside. It does worry me, especially given that Denzel Ward might not be suiting up.
That is the one. Of all the injuries, which one is the biggest for you? Garrett, Cooper, Denzel Ward?
Well, it would be...
And also, we are assuming that DTR is not going to play. I'm sorry. Like that, he's just out. But
it would be Garrett for sure, just because he's truly a once in a generational game wrecker, and he's by far the best player in our defense. However, it kind of like goes hand in hand, because if Denzel's out, then I need Miles there, because we have to get pressure on Matt Stafford, because he's going to just get that ball out and we might get cooked without Denzel Ward. But I think that Denzel Ward being out is insanely huge.
And with what the defense will have to then change if Garrett or Ward are out, I would believe, and I'm going off what Kevin Stefanski said this week, they're going to suit Myles Garrett up. Okay, he's not going to not play in this game. He's going to go out there. How effective he can be, if you can just get him out there on third downs, if you can even just put him out there as a decoy, but then the fear is if he makes that shoulder worse. And that, beyond the game, beyond needing to win the game, the Browns have got to finally get a game to come out healthy. Bro, when is the last game that we have had that you got done and we didn't have some sort of devastating injury?
Week 1.
Oh, my God.
Week 1.
I guess. You know, another unsung kind of hero that we haven't talked about is Anthony Walker. And if you're going to go after Tyler Higbee, like, you need a walkout. Oh, my God. So many injuries for this team. And I know nobody cares. It's the NFL. Like, you got to play through it, but it's a lot, man. It's a lot. And with how the defense had gotten pretty much shown up there by the Denver Broncos, big rally for them. This is a big rally. That's why we picked an interception for Matt Stafford. It's on the defense for this game. You got an offense that you're starting Joe Flacco, an offense that the run game has been there, but sometimes not. I'm sorry, man. I'm looking at Jim Schwartz, and I'm saying, I need some magic out of you, man. And I think the Browns defense has kind of been that way where it's like a good game, then a bad game, then a good game. They really are kind of on that little bit of a streak. So there's some positivity to say, all right, they had a bad game. They should bounce back. The problem is that the Rams watched what the Broncos did, and they're going to try to exploit. I swear to God, if I got to see a trap run again, that trap play, the Broncos just smoked us on that trap play last week. You need to shore that up a little bit. You know, another guy I think is a little under the microscope in this game? Greg Newsome. Newsome has not played well recently. And if Denzel is going to be out, whether or not, Greg Newsome has got to show up in this game. On that defense that, again, I mean, missing some guys, dude, I think Greg Newsome, this is a big game for him. I'm kind of resigned to my fact I don't know if Greg Newsome's long here for Cleveland. Of the money that they're going to have to spend and the money that's going around, you got MJ Emerson, you got Denzel Ward. I unfortunately think Greg Newsome has really not ascended to the level. He's fine. I'm not regretting the pick. He's been a good player, but I don't think he's the level of player that they expected to be, and unfortunately might become that cap casualty. But boy, am I going to need him this weekend too. Going to be a big weekend there for Greg Newsome to try to slow things down there on that Rams side. I didn't have a vibe. I think I'm maybe lean. I felt better about this game a couple of days ago. At this point, you are so injured. You are so banged up. Browns will go out and win. Watch. The chips are down, and I don't have a good feeling, and those are usually the games that they win. Didn't have a good feeling for that Baltimore game. Didn't have a good feeling for that San Fran game, and look what they did. The Rams are suspect. Okay, I get it. But they find themselves back, and especially, didn't even mention this, they just watched Seattle lose last night. The Rams could find themselves in the playoff picture in the NFC. They've got everything on this game. This truly is a must-win game for both of these squads. A semi-playoff game. It really is. And I just think they got the horses. I do. Specifically on offense. Because the other issue, and I can't get this out of my brain, and I apologize, I'm sorry. Biles and Amari suits up, they take 2 hits, and they go, okay, I can't do this anymore. Oh, man. Here we are. I did want to wrap up today by saying congratulations, Massillon. Washington with a big win tonight. Kirtland just took the field. Ryan, I love 10 a.m. state championships.
Really?
Yeah, because they have one game Thursday. They have 3 or 4 games today, and then they have a couple of games tomorrow for all 7 divisions of high school football. So congratulations, Massillon. Washington, sorry for Hoban to go down. Championship last night.
Are we really sorry for Hoban?
And they're Northeast Ohio, I guess. So here's where we're at. Kirtland. So last night, Washington and Hoban. Today, Kirtland taking on Versailles at 10:30. So they just kicked off. Then at 3 o'clock, you have Toledo Central Catholic and Columbus Bishop Watterson. And then tonight, 7:30, Lakewood St. Edward taking on Springfield. Reflog sent out the lines. St. Ed's is supposed to smoke Springfield. They actually have 5 losses. Made the playoffs, and they are now in the state championship game, which is crazy. Then tomorrow, do you know the powerhouse that is Maria Stein Marion Local?
Never
in Division 7? Dude, they smoke. They're like Kirtland. They're there every year. 15-0. They take on Dalton at 10:30 tomorrow. And then Perry. Go get them. Liberty Center, 2 undefeated squads at 3 o'clock tomorrow. And then Glenville, baby, tomorrow night. Kettering, Archbishop Alter.
We're doing
Screw them.
We're doing Ted Ginn at noon today.
Noon?
Yeah.
Is he coming in?
Yeah.
He's going to be on Chico's show?
No, we do usually film in the huddle Ted Ginn show on Tuesdays. I think we're moving it to Fridays at noon now. So.
Oh, nice. Okay,
yeah.
so Ted Ginn will be in doing that show. So go get him down there for Glenville, for St. Ed's tonight, and certainly Kirtland, who just kicked off. I don't have a quick update on that. And Perry. So we got a lot of Northeast Ohio teams in there. Enjoy it, dude. State championship weekend's always a lot of fun. It's always a lot of fun. And it's just a quick side note. I'm so glad they moved it back to Tom Benson Stadium. They used to do it at Ohio State. I think it's right on being there at Tom Benson Stadium there in Canton. So good luck to all those squads. Enjoy the hell out of the weekend on the high school side. You got some college games, of course, big game tonight. Be watching all that. Bet along, not on the high school, with our friends at Tipico. And we'll get geared up for Sunday with the Browns. Appreciate everybody joining us this week. We've really felt the love here a lot here on the show recently. We're really growing. We are, as we start to turn our attention towards the new year as well. So appreciate everybody joining us. Big win for the Browns. They need to get that Sunday. It's a must-win game for them. And They have really shown up in some of these must-win games. I'm intrigued by Flacco, though. There's something about it.
Oh, I'm
I wanna
excited,
see
man.
it.
I'm very excited.
We'll get that announcement, I'm assuming, later today, that Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Would you imagine if he did pass concussion protocol?
That would be pretty crazy.
Would you start him if he somehow miraculously passed this afternoon?
I don't.
Go Flacco.
Yeah,
Go
he hadn't
Flacco.
practiced all week, right?
Yeah, go Flacco. You got your players thinking it's going to be Flacco. You got everything leaning towards Flacco. You're prepared that way. Go Flacco. Go Flacco, go. What a world, man.
A victory Flacco
What
Monday.
a world that I'm going to watch Joe Flacco in a must-win game play for the Cleveland Browns on Sunday. Things I really, frankly, never thought I would see. But here we are. All right, that's going to do it for us here. Chico coming up 12-2 live, and then you mentioned it, Ryan. We're going to do Ted Ginn, so that'll air a little bit later tonight. Come Get Some this week. Did you see Come Get Some with Ryan Clark this week? Big guest.
Very
big
touching
guest.
tribute.
Very big tribute there with Ryan Clark on Come Get Some. Bobby Carpenter, Anthony Schlegel continues on. We got it all for you. Josh and Maria, we had Boobies World. Dude, can I tell you something so cool? Watching the Cavs game, they put a promo up that said Boobies World after the game.
Did they?
They did. I saw it. It's the coolest thing. Hey, wait a minute.
That's awesome.
How about that? We got our shows on Bally's. I'm going to push for us on Bally's next year, right? I want on, man.
Yeah, no.
We'll do it live every morning. We're here all the time.
Absolutely.
So we'll see. But a lot of Bally's shows going on, and appreciate all of it. Chico coming up at 12. Don't go anywhere. Enjoy the hell out of the weekend. A lot of football. Cavs better going to win tomorrow night, too, against those Pistons. We'll see. It's always a little sweeter on Friday. For Ryan Tyler, I'm Matt Fontana. As always, take it easy.